Hi everyone, this video is to show you how to do what's called layer masking in Photoshop. It's pretty similar to the selective adjustments that we've been doing in class. However, you're going to be blending two images together instead of blending and doing selective adjustments within one single image. So in your classroom site, you guys have a final edits category, and the top assignment there is called Surreal Layer Mask Practice. If you click on it, you'll see that I've incorporated two images, a bottle still life and a bird. Basically what you guys are going to be doing is taking the bottle and the bird and blending them together to create one composite image. So it's surreal because it's not realistic, right? It's going to look kind of funky and mysterious and magical. So what I'd like you to do first is make sure that you're downloading each image. So click on each image and make sure you're clicking on the upper right-hand corner where you can download and open in a new window and download each image to your desktop. Again, I get this box here. If your computer doesn't, your image might be down in the bottom left-hand corner. Just make sure you're saving it to your desktop, or make sure you know where it is here or in your downloads folder, and then get it into Photoshop. So both of my images are downloaded already, so I'm going to open them up in Photoshop. There's my child. I'm going to take the bottle still life, drag it into Photoshop, open it up as a file. Then I'm going to take my bird image and actually drag it right on top of that image. And you're doing what's called placing an image on top. Notice it has two layers now. I have a background layer and I have the bird layer. So right now I kind of have a transform box on it. I'm going to hit return on my keyboard to accept it. And I have two images placed on top of each other. So what I'm going to do is zoom in, and I apologize, these images are a little bit pixelated when you zoom in. They're not giant, but they work for this project. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. I'm going to Command T on my bird layer, and I'm going to change the size of it. So press Shift as you're changing the size of your bird. And again, you're trying to put the bird inside the bottle, so it needs to be small enough that it's fitting inside of that glass bottle. Whether in front of or behind the spoon is totally up to you. Okay, so now my image is small enough. I'm going to hit return. I'm going to zoom in even more so I can see what I'm doing here. Press space on my keyboard to get the hand. And basically what I'm going to do is create what's called a mask on my bird layer. So right now it's just the bird and the background. And while I'm on the bird layer, you guys are going to click a new button down here in your layers palette. This is called let's hover over it, a layer mask. All right, so I'm going to add a layer mask to my bird. So if I click on that, you'll get that little white box that we usually get when we're doing selective adjustments. You'll see a little layer mask thumbnail. So we need to be clicked on that white square on our bird layer. We need to be on our paintbrush, so B on your keyboard or brush tool. We're going to be working with black and white in our color picker as before as well. So we want black on top, white as the background color. And your paintbrush should be a soft brush. So make sure the hardness is basically all the way down. You can always adjust it, but my hardness is all the way at 0. My opacity is going to stay at 100%. So right now I'm going to use a larger brush, changing the size with my brackets, and I'm just going to paint over and get rid of the green from that stock photograph of the bird. So I am basically going to blend these two images together by erasing parts of the image that's on top. So I have a really soft brush. I'm just getting in there with a large brush tool for now, and I'm just getting the edges, and then I'm going to go back in and get all the little fine details. So it's going to take a lot of zooming in and a lot of like fine brush work to make this not look super duper photoshopped. So once I get to that point, I'm going to zoom in even further to the point where I can see pixels literally, and I'm going to decrease the size of my brush and get in around the edges. And if at this point you need to change the hardness of your brush to be a little bit more hard, you can. So I'm going to increase it to like maybe 20 to 50%, and that'll give me a little bit harsher of a line so that I'm not erasing parts of the bird, because the idea is to keep the bird but to get rid of the green. All right, so let's pretend that I am completely done. I'm going to zoom back out. Once you've erased all of the green around the bird, what you guys are going to do is create a black and white adjustment layer in your layers palette. Make sure the black and white layer is on top, right? So here it is in color, here it is in black and white. You guys can then also create a curves layer. You can adjust for black and white to create a little bit more contrast. Whatever you'd like to do, just make sure those layers are on top of your image layers. And make sure you're saving this as your last name. So go to Save As. Make sure your last name is there. Call it Surreal Mask. Make sure you're saving as a PSD to begin with. So here's my Surreal Mask label, desktop, Photoshop document, hit save. Okay, And I'm going to go up to Save As again, Coleman Surreal Mask, JPEG. Hit Save. Okay. So you can either throw those into a folder on your desktop, or you guys, since it's just two copies of it, you can just attach them to your classroom assignment as well. So go back to Classroom, make sure you are, sorry about that, make sure you are turning in. I don't see that down here, but you guys can just take your two images and drag them to turn them in. Just make sure that your name is on both of them. And that's it. So have fun with it. You guys can use this to combine multiple images in the future, whether it's in this class for your final portfolio or whether you are taking Photo 2, you definitely will get into more of these Photoshop techniques if you move on to Photo 2 and Photo 3. So that's it. Thank you. Have fun. Bye.